Beginning. My name is Taryn Holt, and I was never meant to work on an alien medical ship. Humans weren't supposed to be anywhere near the Jirian Collective, much less hired in their medical bays. But desperation pushed boundaries on both sides. Earth was starving after the climate collapse, and Jirians were losing workers to a strange plague spreading across their frontier fleets. They needed help. We needed resources. So I signed up for sanitation work on the Jirian vessel Valkyra, thinking it would be scrubbing floors and incinerating biowaste. Not, whatever this was. On my 4th week aboard, while still stumbling through their language and adjusting to a metallic scent in the air, I was assigned unexpectedly to Medical Quarantine Chamber 6. Clean Bed 2, the handler instructed through the translator chip. The patient is sedated. Do not interact. That should have been a warning. Jirians rarely emphasized anything. But I had my orders. So I stepped into Chamber 6, carrying my sanitation kit and a false confidence that evaporated as soon as the door slid shut. The room was quiet except for the rhythmic pulse of containment fields. Blue light reflected off the polished walls, giving everything an otherworldly shine. There were 4 beds, 3 empty, 1 occupied. Bed 2. The figure beneath the thick silver blanket was humanoid, broad shoulders, long limbs, maybe a bit taller than a human. What caught my attention first was the restraint field hovering above the blanket, shimmering like liquid glass. Jirians didn't restrain their own unless they feared what lay beneath. I approached slowly, my heart thudding. The patient's face was partly visible, a strong jaw, faint scales tracing the cheekbones, and skin tinted a bluish-gray. A respirator covered his mouth. His chest rose and fell, too slowly. Too controlled. Sedated. Safe. Routine cleaning. At least that's what I tried telling myself. I activated the sanitation pad, dipped it into the sterile solution, and leaned in to wipe the patient's arm, one exposed limb resting on top of the blanket. The skin felt cool. Not cold, not dead. Just unfamiliar. I'd barely wiped twice when something under the blanket shifted. Not the patient. Not his arm. Something under the blanket, deeper, lower, moving beneath the fabric like a creature waiting to emerge. I froze. The blanket trembled again, one sharp, unnatural twitch, like something inside was struggling to escape. My breath caught. Slowly, carefully, I lifted the corner of the blanket. And what moved wasn't human. Middle. The thing curled against the man's abdomen wasn't like any alien I'd seen on board. It was attached to him like a living mass. Translucent tendrils extended from its spherical body, pulsing faintly with shifting colors. It reminded me of a jellyfish and an infant creature at the same time. Its tiny filaments wrapped into the man's torso through openings in his skin. A parasite. A symbiont. A biological device. I didn't know. But it moved again, curling toward the air as if tasting it. Then, unmistakably, it turned toward me. 2 glowing slits eyes. Sensors, opened along its surface. I stumbled back so fast I knocked over the sanitation tray. Alarms didn't sound. The restraint field didn't tighten. The creature didn't lunge. Instead, it made a faint, trembling chirp. Like a whimper. And the sedated man under it shifted, just a little, as though responding. My panic paused, not from courage but confusion. What, are you? I whispered. The creature chirped again, softer this time, almost pleading. Before I could react, the door slammed open. Dr. Vesh Kaur, the ship's chief biomedic, glided in, his 6 limbs coordinating with fluid precision. His eyes, golden and narrow, widened at the sight. Human, step back immediately. I did, hands raised. He rushed to the bedside and scanned both patient and creature. How long has it been exposed? Vesh demanded. I just lifted the blanket a second ago, I stammered. It moved. I didn't mean to. He hissed sharply. You should not have seen this. Then why was I cleaning in here at all? No response. He lowered the blanket carefully, the creature curling beneath it. Leave the room. I didn't move. Doctor, what is that thing? He stiffened. Classified. I wasn't trying to break rules, I said, forcing calm. But I need to know, did I just put myself in danger? He hesitated longer than anyone should hesitate to that question. Finally, if you had been in danger, we would not be speaking right now. That wasn't comforting. Please, I said. Just tell me the truth. The creature is not a threat, he said carefully. It is the reason this patient still lives. If it senses distress, it reacts. You surprised it. And it surprised me, I muttered. Vesh's gaze softened in a way I didn't expect. It is forbidden for outside species to witness a royal symbiont. Royal. A chill ran down my spine. So his. Yes, Vesh interrupted. Prince Zarian. He was injured during an ambush. The symbiont sustains him while his body regenerates. Prince. Symbiont. Forbidden. I'd stepped into a political nightmare. I swallowed. I swear I won't say anything, just tell me what to do. To my shock, Vesh shook his head. It is no longer a matter of secrecy, he said grimly. The symbiont has now imprinted on you. What? It acknowledged you. It recognized your presence. His voice dropped. It believes you are a caretaker. My mind blanked. What? He gestured at the contorted blanket. Royal symbionts bond to fewer than 3 beings in their entire life. Usually parent, partner, or medic. He narrowed his eyes. The fact it appealed to you means you cannot leave the prince's vicinity for long. It will seek you. Seek me. If separated for too long, Vesh said dryly, it tends to scream. Scream. Loud enough to rupture the containment fields. I stared at the bed, feeling vertigo swirl through me. I had wanted a job. A paycheck. A way to send money back to my brother on Earth. Instead, I was now the emotional support human for a royal alien jelly creature. Fantastic. Days passed. I was ordered to return daily to reassure the symbiont. At first, I stood across the room, arms crossed, waiting for something to happen. Then under the blanket, the creature would stir and make that soft, anxious noise. Vesh would glare. I would sigh. And I'd end up back at the bedside. Eventually, I began touching the blanket lightly, letting the creature sense my presence. It calmed immediately. Honestly, that scared me more than anything. It trusted me. Why? The prince remained unconscious, but his vitals improved each day. The symbiont's tendrils glowed more steadily, its movements more coordinated. Vesh taught me how to gently wipe its outer membrane, terrifying at first, strangely peaceful later. It likes your voice, Vesh noted on the 4th day. My voice. You hummed once, while cleaning. It responded. I didn't hum. You did. And suddenly I realized he was right. Humans hummed often without noticing stress, focus, habit. The next time I hummed softly, the symbiont pressed upward, as if listening. Great. Now I was a lullaby machine for alien royalty. Then everything changed. On the 11th day, alarms blared through the ship. I ran into Chamber 6 to find Vesh panicking, something I didn't think was physically possible for Girians. What's wrong? The prince is destabilizing, he hissed. His body is rejecting the regenerative serum. The symbiont flailed under the blanket, tendrils spasming violently. Vesh activated restraints, but they barely held.